Hello everyone, welcome to another video and welcome to this week's GT Sport Daily Race C race review. We're in Group 2 cars and we are at Suzuka in Japan, and we're going to have many struggles, and you're going to be seeing a video that features EERIEISSSS and many bottles. So here's just a reminder of the settings for this race on the screen. Take a look at the strategy guide if you already haven't to see the best way to go about this one, but you should be able to pick that up as the video goes on here as well. So moving into the first race, we had set a reasonably decent qualifying time by this point, a 1:47.585, and that's good enough to put us second on the grid for this first race behind Boo Boo Racing. And our first race is not going to get off to the best start, as you're about to see. Now, I came into this race having finished a night shift, got about 4 hours of sleep, and got up and decided to sort of jump into a couple of races. Maybe not the best idea, you probably should go into a race a little bit better prepared than that. I think I managed to put in a lap and a half in practice before the race started, and we're going to see the consequence of that very soon. Anyway, the race gets underway. We are straight into the slipstream of Boo Boo Racing. He's trying to weave a little bit, either to sort of shake the slipstream or warm his tyres up. We actually get the first part of the first corner okay, and then coming out the second part, we just got on the throttle a little bit too hard. We get a slide on. We're trying desperately to catch it. We cause absolute carnage to the cars around us. Now, apologies to that Austrian driver whose race we've just ruined. But obviously when you get into those moments, you're just desperately trying to save the car. And we do eventually get the car back under control, and we've actually dropped down to 5th place. So not a very good start at all. However, we were not alone on the first lap. The Spaniard in 4th place that had overtaken us after our incident makes a slightly smaller mistake at Spoon. That is enough to allow us to get past. And then a little bit later on, GT Bad Boy, he makes a mistake into Degna, and that puts us up to 3rd place. And that was it pretty much for this race. Couldn't get anywhere near the German in front of us, so I kept that gap around about 2.5 to 3 seconds for the rest of the race, and we brought this one home in 3rd place, but which is not a terrible result given what happened at the beginning. But yeah, we could have done a whole lot better there. So hopefully we were warmed up by that race. Do a quick apology in the after race lobby. I wasn't sure at this point who I'd actually taken out. I know now it is the Austrian driver, so if you happen to see the video, then I do apologise for that. That was definitely my mistake. Moving on to race 2, and this one is going to be a race full of bottles. So the mistakes are going to come thick and fast in this one from all the drivers in the field. I don't think I've ever been in a race where so many people made mistakes, and it was almost like nobody actually wanted to win this one. But we line up to the start of this race in 3rd place. Once again behind Boo Boo Racing. We've been joined by another Brit who's on pole position. I think his name's Always Bang Boom, and he's going to lead us away down into turn 1. So when you start fairly high up in the grid, it's always quite good that you don't have to start in the chicane, which is always a bonus. But this race now underway. We're heading down to turn 1. I think we're going to go in here very cautiously given what happened in the first race, and always a good idea to get through turn 1 nice and cleanly. So we do a much better job this time, and we sort of maybe gets it on the grass there, manages to keep the car on the black stuff just about. And one of the major problems I was finding in the first race was when I was in the dirty air of a car, particularly through these S's. I really did seem to be struggling in the dirty air, and quite a lot compared to the other cars. I felt like it seemed to be affecting me a lot more than some of the other drivers. But in these early stages, when we've still got the fresh grip on the tyres, not so bad. So our first bottler of the race is going to be Boo Boo Racing in front of us. Comes out of Degner 2, catches the AstroTurf on the outside, and spears the car off into the barrier on the right. Now I think that's an accident that just about everybody's done in the game multiple times, so no shame in that. We've all been there, we've all done that. But I was soon to join them. Coming into 130R, we just caught that little bit of slippy surface on the right hand side, lost the back end of the car, desperately tried to correct it, got the tyres dirty and had absolutely no brakes into the chicane. Tried to sort of gently make our way over the AstroTurf, but the game reset us back, and that has dropped us from 2nd all the way down to 11th. So we've definitely got some work to do in this one, and some positions to make up. Now, as you're going to see from the theme of this race, as I said, We're not really going to do a whole lot of overtakes, we're just going to sort of capitalise on people making mistakes and bottling it. So you might not have seen that there, but somebody had got it wrong into Degner 1 and been reset to the track, so that was one position made up. There's a little bit of an incident going on up ahead of us, and that spins the Portuguese driver around, so that's another position made up. And we're now in the slipstream of the Austrian driver in the NSX, whose race we had destroyed at the first corner in the last race. So once again, I do apologise for that. With the Austrian in the NXS finding it a little bit tricky, and then the German in the Lexus goes a little bit wide into the second part of spin, so a mistake there. That allows the Austrian through. We're in the slipstream here, not a great position to be in. 130R up ahead is definitely single file unless you're, you know, firmly ahead into the inside. But both the German and the Austrian are going to get it wrong. The German gets it wrong out of 130R, the Austrian loses it under braking for the Casio chicane, and that's another two positions made up. Now there is a fairly big gap in front of us, so we managed to get the head down, try to put in some reasonable laps and see if we can catch up with them. Yeah, but as it turns out, we didn't have to actually wait that long. The yellow flags are back out. There's clearly been some animosity between the two drivers in front of us, probably some kind of incident into the chicane. And it comes down into turn 1 that they take each other out. So now we're up into 4th place. Having been down at 11th at one point, we're now up into 4th place. So not much happened for a number of laps. It took us until lap 8 to actually catch up with 3rd place. We've got the Spaniard in the yellow GTR there. And we do appear to have a little bit more pace than the driver in front of us. So coming through the S's of Suzuka, we're trying to put as much pressure onto the Spanish driver as we can. And he's going to make another very common mistake, a mistake that you'll see all the time in this game. Is you come into Dunlop, you just get on the throttle a fraction too early, you think you can hang the car round the outside of the corner, but the moment you catch that sort of outside sand, you spin round, and that's us back up into the podium positions now. And even after going down to 11th and having a fairly major mistake, we're still only 4.5 seconds behind the actual leader. So and a couple of laps to go, can we make up any further positions? So we're just going to fast forward through this next lap here. You can see the gap gradually coming down, and if you may well notice that 1st and 2nd have been swapping positions as well. So they're definitely fighting, and that's allowing us all the time to close up on 2nd place. So we'll join the action as we start the last lap. Smoke is firmly in the slipstream of all bangs boom, but he definitely seems to be struggling on his tyres. Now I kind of fell out of what these two drivers were doing early on in the race with my own mistakes, so I'm not entirely sure when they pitted, but Smoke 808 definitely seems to be struggling on his tyres. I don't know if he maybe pitted on lap 4 to try and get some kind of undercut, and maybe paying the price for that early pit stop. Now the strategy for this one was absolutely a one stop. You could no stop it, it was definitely a slower strategy. And it was very difficult to make the tyres last for the 10 laps. It was capable. I didn't actually see anybody doing that strategy in my sort of session that I played here. There was some people trying to get the undercut on lap 3 and 4, which was definitely, you could do, but you were certainly going to sort of suffer with the tyres over the last couple of laps doing that. The vast majority of drivers were just sort of splitting the race down the middle, doing a 5-5 split. And that probably is certainly is the quickest way to go about the race if you've got the clean air to do it in. I definitely get the feeling that Smoke has pitted on lap 4 because he really is suffering on this last lap with the tyres. Now, 1st place is bolted. He's opened the gap up to myself to nearly 3 seconds. In fact, what's that 3 point? I can't actually see because it's a very small screen. But he's got this race in the bag, coming into 130R. But as me and Smoke come through 130R, something has happened up ahead, and 1st place is off the track, coming through the chicane. Manages to not get reset, but he's got his tyres dirty and he's going to lose the position to both me and Smoke. And that is the final bottle of this one. As I said, everyone seemed to want to be throwing positions away in this one, and despite the fact that we also threw the car away, we at least did it very early in the race and were able to kind of keep it clean for the rest of the race and work our way back up into 2nd. So moving on to race number 3 of this video, and if you're looking at 6th place there, we have EERIEISSSS starting right behind us. At this point he was actually streaming these races live on his YouTube channel as well, and I knew that at the time, so a little bit of added pressure that I'm going to have some people watching me at these early parts of the race. And we're going to skip forward to this one into lap 3. Not a whole lot has happened up till this point. We're under pressure from the driver behind us, but we've actually dropped off from the 2 cars in front. That again was just due to that dirty air that I was really struggling to sort of follow another car, and it was really boring itself out in the lap times. I knew I could do sort of mid 49s in lap 2 if I had some clean air, but in the dirty I could just not get the car to turn in. Now up ahead, 2nd place, has made a mistake, and he's going to actually, as he re-enters the track, it's a very poor re-entry, make contact with us despite the fact we tried to give him some room on the outside, and that's going to lose us some momentum down into 130R and allow P3, well, the current P3 to overtake us. It's kind of put us off our rhythm as we come into 130R. We had to slightly lift, and EERIEISSSS is going to fire it down the inside. We just see him in time, but he makes a really good overtake, gets the car stopped on the apex, and up into P4 he goes. Now I've raced EERIEISSSS a number of times in several categories, and I would say at most of the time I'm slightly quicker than him. I mean, when I say slightly quicker, I'm talking a 10th or so, but I have raced him at this combination before in the past as well, and he's always very quick here. Now I do know it's probably his favourite combination in the game. I've seen him saying that in his stream, and I've seen him have that out in sort of previous videos as well, and he is very quick here. So I knew I would be struggling to hold on to his shirt tails for the rest of this race. However, up ahead, Suzuka is about to claim another victim. P3, who seemed to be very raggedy throughout the duration of this race, has got it wrong, going into Degner 2. I think he just caught the asphalt on the outside. It's kind of on the braking, speared him to the inside of the corner, and he's lost control, and off he goes. Again, I think it's an incident or a crash that the vast majority of drivers have made at some point. Suzuka is just very unforgiving for any mistakes. If you run wide at any of the corners or kind of get it wrong, you end up with incredibly dirty tyres, and it takes you a good few corners to sort of get those cleaned. So jumping forward to lap 10, we made our pit stop just behind EERIEISSSS. We came out, we sort of managed to close the gap just down a little bit, but as soon as we got into the dirty air we struggled massively. I think we ended up scrubbing our front tyres too much, and as we come to the end of the race, we're just over 2 seconds behind, and it's going to be a 4th place finish for this one. So there we are, finishing times come up there. Dilster, top split driver, has won this one fairly comfortably. Formula F1 fan in 2nd, EERIEISSSS 3rd, and myself 4th. So the 4th race we're going to take a look at, it went wrong pretty quickly. Coming out the chicane, Formula F1 fan got it wrong, absolutely compromised our speed. We actually had to hit the brakes coming out, and we're going to get absolutely mugged down into turn 1. So we've got the Greek in the inside, Formula 1 fan in our inside, and we're just in a really bad position going into turn 1. If we tried to hang it out there, we would just make contact with us and we end up into the sand. And because we had the brakes so early, EERIEISSSS makes another overtake on us down into turn 1. But it was just an instant, it was just a sort of incident of circumstances there. We ended up on the outside in big trouble, and end up losing 3 positions. We do make 1 back as the green GTR goes flying off the track. In fact, it may have been a Lexus. So moving forward to lap 6, we were still in a reasonable position, but we get a silly penalty into Degner 1, and then coming into the hairpin, the Belgian's going to make an absolute lunge on us, batters us out of the way. Not happy with that one, but it did turn out he was a particularly aggressive driver, and he may feature in a video from EERIEISSSS at some point in the future, I do believe. So we tried to recover, we're down 9th place, we fell behind Momos and Happy Meal after our penalty. We're a lot quicker than Happy Meal, but we find ourselves in another terrible position in the outside into Degner 1, but Happy Meal sort of doesn't exactly help us by giving us very little space and squeezing us. Thankfully don't go all the way into the sand, but we do lose another position, and to be perfectly honest with you, the heart had gone in this one, and we were just we started making a lot of very silly mistakes over the end of the last few laps of that race, and we finished in 10th place. Just one of those races, can't always get good results, and sometimes things just don't work out for you. So moving on to the next race, and I've got to admit that confidence was pretty low at this point. I was really struggling with the dirty air. I did feel like it was affecting me a lot more than any of the other drivers around me, who seemed to like stick pretty close to the rear of my car, whereas as soon as I got within about a second, I was really struggling to get the car to behave how I wanted it to. And it kind of ends up getting a little bit of a snowballing effect with that. You get the frustration on top of the lack of confidence. You start to overdrive the car instead of just sort of relaxing a little bit and letting the car do the work, if you like. And you're going to see sort of that bear out into this first corner here. So I don't know what the Spaniard in front does, but it certainly forgets to hit the accelerator in some fashion, and we get the run down the inside of him from the get-go down towards turn 1. Now this is my corner all the way. There is no way that I shouldn't be able to take this position here, but I've got so little confidence in the car, in the dirty air, and it's going to brake and stop and not slide, that I end up braking so much earlier than the Spaniard that just go round, clean round the outside of us. Coming into the S's, we're going to get a little bit of a fright here from the Italian driver, whose connection has dropped. Now he's not disconnected, he's just dropped, but I thought I was about to get speared off the track there, tried to brake, and we ended up losing a position because of it. So again, the luck not also playing out my way, as well as my confidence being pretty low in the car, and my driving, I'm just not getting a whole lot of luck. So fast forwarding through a little bit of this lap, you can see we're already starting to drop back a little bit as that dirty air again just felt like it was affecting me far more than any other driver. Thankfully there's a bit of a traffic jam as we go up to the Casio Triangle, and that allows us to close up as we make the exit there. We get a reasonable exit, and P7 is going to come under some pressure from the Greek driver. So P7 was the Spanish driver that we failed to overtake into turn 1, and he does seem to be very raggedy at this point. Seems to be making a lot of small mistakes, sliding the car an awful lot, and he's holding the Greek driver up pretty badly at this point. So into the S's we come. There's racing going on ahead. I think it looks like P5 and 6 are getting involved in something just up ahead. That's causing a bit of a concertina effect as we all start to close up on each other. Definitely P5 and P6 are having a bit of a battle. That's allowed the Spanish driver to close up. We get a run down the outside of the Greek into Degner 1, but that is not a good place to be, as we've seen from the sort of previous race. We got squeezed. There's going to be a little bit of an incident up ahead. I'm not entirely sure what happens, but the Greek driver gets compromised and the luck actually falls our way just for once, and we managed to make up a position. Again, there's some side-by-side action going up ahead between P5 and P6, and the Spanish driver and P7 just ahead of us definitely seems to be struggling with the car. Now, he hadn't really featured in any of the previous races, so it may well just be this was his first race of the day, and I've no the feeling for that one. You can quite easily come in a little bit cold, and if you're racing drivers around you who have got a few races under their belts, you can come under pressure quite quickly. But we get our reasonable run out of spin. Actually managed to follow the Spanish driver fairly closely for a change. Coming down to 130R, and he's going to get it all wrong, gets a bit of a wiggle on. We go for the move down the outside. We tried to hang it round the first part of the chicane, but he gives us no space, turns into us, and we have to sort of yield to position. Thankfully it doesn't compromise us too badly, and we sort of managed to maintain a position from the cars behind and stay in the slipstream. So you can see that lap time there, a 152.5. That's probably 3 seconds slower, or at least 2.5 seconds slower than what we're doing on lap 1. Again, the Spaniard, he gets very lucky, he doesn't lose it completely there on the curve into turn 1. Again, compromises our position though, and because he's been sliding the car so much, he's probably heated those tyres up an awful lot, and he's really struggling for grip as we come through the S's. Again, he's sliding it in there and just parking the car on the apex, causing us to hit the anchors in a place you normally wouldn't want to be braking. Coming out of Dunlop down towards Degner 1, and eventually I think the Spaniard is going to push his luck just a little bit too far and goes flying off. That gets him out our way, gives us a little bit of clear air in front of us, and let's see if we can close up on the Italian, who's got the close attention of the Spaniard in front of him. The Spaniard has gone wide out of the hairpin, going to come under some pressure as we make our way down to Spoon, and I'm sort of just sitting at this point hoping that they can have a little bit of an instant and we can make up some more positions. We've sort of got a little bit of a gap to the Greek driver behind us, and we're managed to get settled into this one now after a fairly hectic opening lap. Coming out of spin, managed to close the gap down to the Italian driver there. He's clearly getting held up by the Spanish driver in P3, and he's going to be eager to get a move of some sort made soon, I would imagine. Can he get the move made down into the chicane? Nope, not close enough to make that move, but we managed to be much better on the brakes and close that gap up quite significantly. So there's a driver up ahead pitting on lap 3, and the Spanish driver decides to pit on lap 3. Now that was a strategy you could go for. I did mention that in the strategy guide, that you could pit as early as lap 3 and make the tyres last for 7 laps on the second stint. You would be struggling big time come the last couple of laps, but it definitely was a strategy that you could do if you had the gap behind you to make it worth your while. Yeah, probably better try to get the undercut done on lap 4, but again only if you had that sort of gap behind you. The pit loss, I did say it was 5.3 seconds in the guide, but I did mention that it is sometimes shorter when it's an actual daily race C, and I think the pit loss was coming in at around about 4.2 seconds, which is just a bit stupidly quick in my opinion. I think you should strive to maybe make it a little bit longer. So just fast forwarding through the action there, we've made our pit stop, and now me and the Italian driver in front have came out behind the Spanish driver. He's managed to sort of put in some good laps with the fresh tyres, but of course the other tyres are now 6 laps old, sorry not 6 laps old, they're 3 laps old, and he's starting to struggle as we sort of catch up fairly quickly on our fresh tyres. He's managing to hold on at this point, but again he's going to run wide coming out the hairpin. That allows GT Avi to get the run out the corner. Spanish driver tries to follow him to the outside to get the slipstream, but that allows us with our better traction just to take the shorter line towards spin and get the move done up into P7. And to be honest with you, I think that was pretty much the action for this one. We were in the slipstream of GT Avi in front of us, and we do make up one fuller position. I think we finished this one in P6. But I think that's just a driver up ahead that was going to make a pit stop. So the best of this race, we're just going to try and stick with GT Avi and see if we could maybe get close enough to make a move. But given my sort of struggles in the dirty air, I knew that was going to be a pretty hard task. At this point we seemed to be okay, but again, it was in the first sort of couple of laps when the tyres were nice and fresh. I didn't find it too much of an issue, but as the sort of the stint went on, and I feel like I was having to drive the car harder into the corners to try and stick with drivers than I normally would. I was obviously burning the tyres out a bit quicker than I also normally would. As you can see, we've sort of moved forward to lap 10. GT Avi's kind of opened the gap up to 2.2 seconds. Again, once we were out the slipstream, we were able to kind of lap fairly similarly with them. Obviously losing that dirty air. And we come across the line to finish 6th. We actually finished 4.8 seconds behind the leader. I think Dilster, who was leading the race for quite a bit, tried to do the early stop, pitted on lap 3 and tried to do a 7 lap stint, but it didn't quite work out for him. And I think he actually got a somewhat dubious move made on him as we kind of came into spin on the last lap. Anyway, I was kind of wondering, really, was my struggles was it all dirty air that was my struggles, or was I maybe lacking a bit of pace? So I kind of set up a lobby with the same settings as the race, and was quite quickly able to confirm that I was really just struggling in the dirty air. So with full fuel load, we did a 49.5 followed up by a 49.8. Now bear in mind, my fastest lap in any of the races we just watched there was at 49.8, and that was done on the second stint with the lower fuel. I think it's safe to say that the dirty air was having quite an impact on my performance, and that's something I'm going to have to maybe work on and try and find a way to remedy, but I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do that. Now that is the end of the race reviews for this video, but we do have a little bit of bonus footage to finish off with. So if you've been doing this race over the course of the week and you've been having some similar struggles to myself there and many other drivers, of course, that you've seen in my races as well, I thought I'd just put together a little bit of a montage of Suzuka claiming some souls. So again, if you've been having this sort of similar instance and the sands of Suzuka have been calling you more often than you would like, then enjoy this little 2-minute montage of other drivers having similar problems and mistakes, and I'm also going to feature in that myself. We've all been there. Suzuka is a circuit that just claims many victims race after race, so do enjoy this little montage of drivers getting it wrong. And thank you very much for watching. Please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button if you've made it to this point in the video. I would appreciate it very much. Until the next video, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you on the next one. Goodbye now.